My 38FX fiance ghosted me 39M before our wedding. It's been 16 years and now she wants to talk it over again. Should we reopen closed wounds? I was never given an explanation. She just left and told nobody. It was literally right before our big wedding ceremony. She didn't leave a note, nothing, just left. Even her family were left baffled. She just got up and left. We had dated all through HS and all through college. She eventually returned, but not to me. I had to learn via a third party, her parents, she had no intentions of coming home. She wanted nothing to do with me and told her parents to avoid having me around. I never got a choice in the matter. I respected her wishes. I never understood why she did it. My only guess was she had a mental breakdown because she cut off all contact with everyone. We were both young and still growing. I don't know, but I've struggled with it since. Out of the blue, she DM'd me on Facebook after all these years and wants to meet up. I'm in an influx of emotions right now. Angry, nervous, hopeful, sad. I still have feelings for her. I don't know if I could take her back, but looking at her Facebook makes me miss her. She's even better looking than she was before and single. I'm conflicted. She won't talk about anything as to why she left. She said it's best to do so in person. The only thing I can tell from her Facebook is a bunch of stuff about her being weak and living a life full of shame and regret, and being lonely. This is dumb. She ghosted me and I should want nothing to do with her, but, damn it, I still have feelings for her. I never stopped thinking about her. What should I do? Ghost her in return? Call her out? See where this date takes us? Thanks update. Well, that was something. I got closure at least. We met at a cafe and sat and talked outside. The first thing I noticed was how badly scarred her arms were, and how much pain was in her face. Long story short, she wanted to break up long before the wedding. She was too weak and cowardly to speak up for herself. She had a complete nervous breakdown over everything. She had been tired of being forced into doing things she never wanted to do, and never having the guts to stand up for herself. She was mad at her family pressuring her to get married and pump out kids. She was mad at them forcing her into a degree that she didn't want. She was mad herself for not being able to speak up. Nothing she did was justified, which we agreed on. When I first proposed to her, I did it in a public area. I had put her on the spot, and she wanted to say no, but she couldn't bear to see me hurt. She was right. I made all the choices for her. I was a very different person back then, and she was very meek. As in, she just went with the flow and had no backbone. I drowned her voice out often and often never gave her the chance to grow to be a person. Back then I was often focused only on myself. Well, everything came to a climax and she had a complete mental breakdown. She ran away from her problems at the behest of her best friend, and only person in the world she ever trusted. As she said, it's the only thing she knows how to do, run. She never had the spine to speak up. Her life just spiraled downwards. She was homeless for a few years after her best friend's husband kicked her to the curb. The rest of that time was spent in prison, which she didn't specify what she did. She was released about a year ago, and has been turning her life around. She has a job, she's reconnected with her parents, and she's finally reconnecting with me. She never stopped trying to get in touch with me. As for our future, we have none. We both agreed to end things and go our separate ways. We both are changed, two different people. We have nothing in common and don't live near each other. She doesn't justify what she did, nor does she want to be forgiven. She thinks it's repulsive, and is ashamed of her actions. I wanted to be angry, but I couldn't. I just forgave her. With that, we shook hands and said our goodbyes, and that will likely be the last time we ever see one another. It's bittersweet. I got the closure I wanted. We both did. It feels like a burden was released. I know now we never had a future together and never will. But on the other hand, I'm sad because it's over. All these years maybe hoping something would happen were for naught. But in the end, this is an ending and I finally have closure. Not many get to say that. Do I believe her story? Yes, I do, and even if she's full of shit at this point, does it even matter? I've always known her to be very weak-willed, meek. She often just does what everyone tells her to do, and often runs when things get too difficult. She avoids her problems because was too weak to stand up to them. I mean, it makes sense why her family would not talk to me about her. They were the typical tiger parents that disowned their problem child.
Second story.
My girlfriend 20F is completely crazy, but mostly in a good way. Spontaneous is an understatement. Sometimes she goes too far, but I love her for her crazy personality. I am more relaxed and we balance each other out. Two recent incidents really freaked me out though, and I need advice. I was driving on the highway with a lot of traffic. We were going maybe 40 miles per hour. She suddenly started tickling me and wouldn't stop when I yelled at her. I jammed on the brake and someone almost hit us from behind. I asked her what the fuck is wrong with her, but she just laughed about it and told me to chill. I said, what would make you want to do that? And she said, just felt like it. Then last Saturday I was hiking with her, and I was standing near this steep cliff. I'm usually wary of her because you never know what she's gonna do, even though it's usually just a prank or something. I let my guard down and she went behind me and pushed me towards the cliff, and I swear I almost fell off. She did it hard and I ended up right at the edge. She was laughing so hard. I freaked out and started screaming at her, and I may have been out of line, but holy shit. She laughed about it at first, but then she started crying and saying she was so sorry. The next day she started texting me saying that she didn't mean any harm and she just didn't know that I would get so mad at her for doing that. Am I crazy for even thinking about this? Is it possible she's just immature, and if I get back with her she'll be different? I'm kind of lonely and I really love her, but this really made me rethink the situation because now I feel like she's legit crazy, not just fun crazy. Thanks for your advice. Update. I've been thinking a lot, and I decided that I'm ending my relationship with her. This isn't easy for me. It's hard because I've been with her for almost 2 years, but it's even harder because now I feel a ton of guilt myself as I remembered things that I ignored, and how I was only worried about her after I became the victim. I mentioned that point in the other thread, but I feel even worse about it now. I know I was stubborn in the last thread, but I listened to everyone's advice very carefully. You all helped so much. When people brought up the sadism aspect, it sort of clicked. I don't know if it was stupidity or selfishness, but I didn't think of her that way until this week. I just ignored everything she did. I thought about some memories using this new perspective. I remember early this year her dad got her a job at the front desk at this apartment complex. It's hard to explain this place because it was sort of a luxury place, and most apartments aren't like this, but I was there once or twice to pick her up and I remember what the building looked like. There were a lot of older people living there, and right near the entrance of the building there was an elevator which only went up. Then there was the main elevator which was kind of far down a long hallway. She had to call that first elevator down after the person was approved to go into the building. One time me and her were smoking and just chilling talking about stuff. She was laughing at me about how she would sometimes disable the up elevator and pretend it was out of order. And then she'd watch these older handicapped people walk down this long hallway to get to the main elevator. She got fired pretty quickly anyway, because she activated the fire alarm when there was no fire. When they asked her what happened, she pretended that the computer was glitching and she couldn't stop it, but they believed she did it on purpose, so they fired her. I'm sure some people could have been injured during the chaos. I guess the alarm must have disabled the elevators, so everyone had to grab their stuff and run down the stairs as quickly as possible. I can imagine all these elderly people going down so many flights of stairs. I don't think anyone was injured, but they did fire her, and maybe they're still investigating. I don't know if it could help, but I'm gonna call that place and tell them what she told me, and how she admitted to pulling the alarm on purpose. That will help my conscience out a lot. Like I said, I feel terrible about ignoring this stuff. You might think I'm an idiot or a terrible person myself. I don't know what to say, but when I really thought about this stuff, I decided I couldn't be with her. I know people will criticize me, and that's fine. This is an update but also a confession TBH, because I have to get that off my chest. And there's a bunch of other stories too that she told me, or that I saw myself. I enjoyed her craziness TBH, even though I was always on edge, but I thought of it as her being fun and spontaneous instead of sadistic. I guess I'm pretty weird myself. I responded to her text this morning because she was starting to get angry and was sending a lot more texts. I told her I was really sick and thought she shouldn't be near me, but that we might be able to hang out again in a week or two. I said I wasn't mad at her anymore, and I just didn't respond because I was sick. I just told her that to get her off my back and to give myself time to prepare for the breakup, because I don't know how she's gonna react, and I want to be safe. For example, she has keys to my house, and I'm living with other people including kids, so I want to change the locks and make sure we're not tied together in any other ways before I do an official breakup. Do you think that's a smart idea? I could use any advice on the best way to deal with a breakup in this situation because I'm kind of worried. Once again, thanks so much for all your advice last time, and have a good day.